Out of the More Perfect Union, says Delaware is getting national attention over a bill to let LLCs, which are limited liability corporations, vote in a city's elections. But we heard that there was more going on, so we took a look. It turns out LLCs can already vote in at least 17 Delaware towns. And this bill may even allow churches to vote. Let's go. It says Delaware has a home rule charter law which allows any town with more than 1,000 residents to broad leeway for self-governance. Part of this law allows cities and towns to change the qualifications of those entitled to vote at municipal elections. In addition to at least a dozen municipalities which allow non-resident property owners to vote in their elections. I'm going to read that again. In addition to at least a dozen municipalities which allow non-resident property owners to vote in their elections, it has been previously reported that 3 towns allow LLCs incorporated within their town borders to cast a ballot in local elections. But in reality, the number is higher than that. More Perfect Union has obtained a recent poll of 27 municipalities in Delaware, in which officials in 13 of those places said LLCs are allowed to vote in at least some elections. Wow. Additionally, officials in 3 more towns confirmed to us Wednesday that LLCs can vote in their elections. But this isn't the first time LLCs voting has stirred controversy. Backlash killed the 2017 proposal to LLCs vote in Rehoboth Beach. And in 2018, a developer who was the registered agent of dozens of LLCs in the city of Newark was able to vote 31 times in a referendum. City leaders quickly closed the loophole. 31 times? Wow. Holy crap. It says, but in Seaford, Delaware's 7th largest municipality, Mayor David Grinshaw has pushed a similar effort to allow artificial entities the ability to vote in his city, and if approved by the General Assembly, could change the nature of elections there entirely. Grinshaw has a history of pushing corporate interests as far as he can in his position. In 2017, the Seaford City Council became the first Delaware municipality with a right-to-work law, which was later overruled by state lawmakers. The council approved a plan to allow LLCs to vote in April, just days after an election where only 340 people voted. The News Journal reported last month that there were 234 businesses registered in Seaford, meaning LLCs could sway whole elections. City officials also indicated that additionally, nonprofits and even churches would be given the right to vote. In this clip from April 11th meeting, councilman asked if churches could vote under the plan. The city's lawyers said that they could. Let's tune in.
He would get one. All right, thanks. Appreciate it.
Mr. Mayor, Councilman Henderson.
But it came to me. How do we go about treating nonprofits and churches?
They would be treated the same way as for-profits. They are artificial entities. They would have the right to vote in the same way as an LLC or an LLP. So they would designate one person. So long as they own property, they can designate somebody to vote for them.
Well, say it's a large denomination. United Methodist Church, Catholic Church, Baptist Church, they have conferences, right? So they own the property, but a conference owns it. I would suppose that it would be owned in a corporate manner somehow. I'm not sure.
And that organization would designate somebody to vote for that organization in the election.
And a 501c3, same thing. Okay.
What? What? My God. Man, you don't have any rights. Corporations do. Oh, man. Let's continue. All right. So the Seaford sent the bill to the legislature, where a committee made up of House leaders, including Democratic Speaker Pete Schwarzkopf, approved the bill in May. Schwarzkopf said he wants to defer to small town governments on their laws. Since last week, the bill has been put in the House agenda twice, but in both instances, the legislation was taken off the agenda without explanation following national coverage. Now it's back in for a third time. Spokesperson for Representative Daniel Short, a state legislator from Seaford who introduced the bill, referred questions about whether the bill he introduced would allow churches to vote as well as LLCs to Seaford leaders who drafted the bill. Here's what they said at the meeting. Says City Manager Anderson went on to explain that city staff had gone through the city's database and identified approximately 236 entities that would potentially be able to vote if the proposed changes were approved. He noted some of the business owners have residential properties under several different entities. However, they would still only receive one vote. Councilman Henderson asked if nonprofits and churches would qualify to vote if under this proposed change. Solicitor Griffith explained nonprofits are considered artificial entities and would have the right to vote in the same way as an LLC or an LP. Solicitor Griffith reminded Council that based on the current charter, these entities are already permitted to vote in special elections for annexation. So there's already a process in place for this kind of voting. Councilman Santos asked if churches are given the ability to vote. It is possible they could now be required to pay taxes. Solicitor Griffith explained churches have a federal exemption, allowing them to be exempt from taxation. The spokesperson also said that the proposed change to allow LLCs to vote in Seaford is not breaking new ground, and that more than 10 municipalities in Delaware currently allow LLCs to vote in at least some municipal elections. So he says, it says Lewes, Hendopolis Acres, Fenwick Island, Laurel, Millsboro, Slaughter Beach, Rehoboth Beach, Camden, Dewey Beach, Cheswold, and Milton. Says complicating the matters is that legislators are up against a June 30th deadline, which is tomorrow, to pass bills funding the state budget, including a $1.4 billion bond bill, which needs at least 2 Republican votes to pass with a 2/3 majority. Separately, Representative Sherry Dorsey Walker has introduced HB 189, which would ban LLCs from voting any local election in Delaware. That bill has yet to receive any hearing in the House. Quote, I see it as part of this nationwide attack on democracy and voter suppression. Common Cause Delaware Executive Director C. Snyder Hall told MPU. Instead of trying to block the residents of Seaford from voting, they're trying to dilute the vote. The Constitution has a one-person, one-vote principle, but if the legislature continues to back a dystopian practice of corporate voting rights, LLCs will have more rights in some Delaware elections than living, breathing people. So that's an update on the news that I broke out on Tuesday. So any reason why we need to change the system fundamentally? That's one of the big reasons why, right?